What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Have You Found Your Crown? Season 1, Episode 6. Today's title, Confidence versus Ego. So this is definitely a good one. I feel like when it comes to us being ourselves and our personable ways, like ego is such an important thing, but it's a very thin line between, you know, having an ego that works for you versus an ego that works against you. I like that. It's a thin line between having an ego that works for you versus working against you. Today's theme, self-worth. I think that's very, very big. You have to have confidence, and in a sense, you have to have somewhat of an ego. Today I'm definitely going to break that down and the difference between two. When it comes to fashion and design, and like I always say, this isn't just about fashion and design. This is about business, entrepreneurs, creators. You have to have these things aligned, and you have to know the difference between the two, and be able to compartmentalize your feelings and your views when it comes to the two. So in today's topic, we're going to discuss three main things. It's the first one is knowing your value. The second is arrogance versus confidence. I like that one. And the third one is going to be staying humble, which I think, and I hope that a lot of people pull their pens and pads out. Yeah, we're going to definitely get into those three and why those three coexist within each other, but also why they also have big differences amongst each other. So I appreciate y'all for checking this episode. Let's get into it. So in today's episode, we're going to get into confidence versus ego. Like I said in the intro, I think this is essential because I don't think people don't realize how much their ego can play such a significant role in their journey to success or their plummet downward from success. I've seen personally my ego and a lot of other egos be tested at times. And when you don't learn to compartmentalize between the confidence of your ego versus the arrogance of your ego, you can get mixed up a lot. Um, I'll give you a prime example. This is definitely, like I said, more so for my designers and creators, but anybody within business, anybody that's a creative, anybody that's an entrepreneur, anybody in leadership can take from this. There are going to be times where you're going to seek out, rather from your team, yourself, from partners, from other people, um, you know, a sense of how do they feel towards something that you're putting out there. Prime example, if you're in leadership, you're going to come up with rules, you're going to come up with ways, you're going to come up with designs for your team. And you have to have an ego that isn't big enough to where people, you know, can't criticize, give you constructive criticism. Because people talk all day, but constructive criticism I feel is good. And you have to learn to take that, and you should want that. You should want that for sure. Being someone who is creative and putting things out in the world, you should want feedback. The ego part of that is, okay, you hear something you don't like. Like, what you gonna do about it? When it comes to me, I just like definitely have grown and furthered my way from the arrogance of my ego, which has helped me grow a lot. I've learned to compartmentalize constructive criticism and not take it with such a grain of salt, but learn to appreciate the fact that someone is taking their time to give me feedback on something. And I look at their criticism and I'm like, okay, what can I take from it? And some of it they can keep themselves. That's the key thing, if anything, with this first lesson. Um, well, just the total subject and all. I want you to learn that it's okay for you to take some things and leave some things. Just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true. Or just because somebody speaks or criticizes something you have going on doesn't mean what they say is valid. Now, if you go on to act on that and show emotions toward that, then yeah, it becomes valid. So let's get into the first subject of knowing your value. I think this is key. When I first was coming on to, uh, this business entrepreneur fashion world, I was working with a lot of artists at the time, a lot of hip hop artists. I was, working with merch, helping with tours. I was working with other brands. This is when I was heavy into the resale sneaker world. But I'll always appreciate one of my good homies pull me to the side one day and was like, you know, you have to learn your value and create your value. And how do you do that? You have to hone in on your skills, hone in on the things that truly bring out the best in you. Just because you may like all types of things doesn't mean you're meant to do all types of things. Like, I believe that we are here for certain things. And part of the journey and knowing your value is creating value. Knowing part of your value is creating your value. And how do you create your value? You have to create uh, sustainability, repetitious. You have to be consistent. I think I said it a few episodes back when it comes to a lot of major brands or a lot of brands that have broke across into a different atmosphere. I feel like that's the main components of their success. And so, once you create and discover the value of yourself and the value of the thing, of your business, of your brand, whatever it is, you then build around that. And you never devalue yourself. And this is why this is such a key factor. It's so important into building and branding and marketing and just creating, because you have to learn and engage your value and where you are, because it's ladders. And you have to remember that the more you create and the more successful you are, the more valuable you become. The more your business is around, the more consistent you are, the more valuable you are. And the more valuable you are, these are the things that you can gauge off, and these are the things that you could continue to build off. And so, that is key, knowing your value. So let's move into the next lesson. And I think this is super, super important. They all are, but arrogance versus confidence. Arrogance versus confidence. Now, this is all a thin line. I believe you have to have a lot of both. I was about to say a little bit, but you have to have a lot of both. You have to have the arrogance to chase your dreams and to pursue your dreams and to pursue, the thoughts in your head. You got to remember the things that's in your head aren't visible to everyone else in the world. And it's your job to learn how to create these things and put them out there in a way where, regardless if people understand it or not, if people help you or not, you put it out there. And I think that's where the importance of arrogance comes in, because you have to have a little bit of that, to uh, continue to push through or continue to even feed your ego at